Welcome to another edition of Our City. As we move into the week before Easter and the beginning of Passover, I hope all of our friends enjoy the holiday season, as well as a very prayerful and reflectful season as well. On Thursday of this week at 10:30, I'm going to attend a phenomenal women program at the Stephen Sampson Center. For more information, please call Troy Hudson at 820-4706. March is the month of Women's History Month, and we do numerous programs celebrating the role of women not only in the city of Elizabeth, but throughout our county and our state during the month of March, Women's History Month. On Friday, City Hall will be closed this week in observance of Good Friday. City Hall will be closed on Friday of this week. On Saturday at 12 o'clock noon, I'm going to attend an Easter egg hunt at the Ravalac Manor Community Center located at 688 Maple Avenue. And I'm told by the weathermen that come April, the weather should be starting to warm up. If you're anything like me, I know it's been a long, dreadful, cold winter. Hopefully, we're going to start to see warmer weather come April. If you need more information concerning these events or any other events, please call our Public Information Office at 820-4124. And I'm pleased to be joined on this week's show by the Director and the Supervisor, I guess, of the Bureau of Community Development and Community Development Block Grant Funding, Miss Jessica Topolosky. Jessica, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mayor.
Now, Jessica, you've been with the city for a while.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, I've been here since 1999, actually January of 1999. And since then, I've taken on the job of running the Community Development Block Grant, the Emergency Solutions Grant, and with the help of Susan Usi, we also apply for the Home Grant and anything else that should come up from HUD or anywhere else.
And Jessica, you've been a lifelong resident of the city of Elizabeth, or pretty close?
Yes, I am and I still live in the city.
Right. And you went to Kane University?
Yes, I did.
And your degree is?
My degree is in public administration on the graduate level, yes.
Yeah. So we have that in common. We both have MPAs from Kane University.
Great school.
Now tell us about Community Development Block Grant. What is it, first of all?
We get funds from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, and Community Development Block Grant is usually abbreviated CDBG. The City of Elizabeth is an entitlement community, and we receive not only this grant, but emergency solutions and home funding. The grant funding was signed into law by Congress on August 24th, 1974, and this year, 2013, marks the 39th anniversary of CDBG.
And Community Development Block Grant is really helpful to our municipality, and the Congress consistently tries to take this money away. Yet it was started under a Republican president, and the Republicans in Congress now consistently attack it. Anyway, that's my thought right now.
I agree with you, but truly the CDBG and this other funding really does so much to fight poverty in our communities. It revitalizes our communities and really helps directly people that our nonprofit agencies serve.
And the Community Development Block Grant funding, what else is the purpose besides helping the?
Well, there are a lot of eligible activities. However, we do not fund directly individuals. We fund 501c3 agencies, which are nonprofit agencies, to deliver these funds. And these funds must provide services for the poor who are eligible for this funding. And the funds or the eligibility activities include acquiring real property, reconstructing or rehabilitating housing and other property, which is administered by Susan Usi of the Elizabeth Home Improvement Program. We assist in building public facilities and improvements. We help people prepare for and obtain employment through education and job training. We currently fund the Retail Skills Center at the Jersey Gardens Mall, which have truly helped many, many Elizabeth residents in the city. Another eligible activity is economic development, which is usually administered through the Elizabeth Development Company. We provide public services for youth, seniors, and the disabled. One of the major centers in the Elizabethport area is the Presbyterian Center, and of course working with the disabled is Community Access Unlimited. We carry out crime reduction initiatives. We assist low-income home buyers directly, again through the Elizabeth Home Improvement Program. We enforce local building codes. This definitely cuts down on the slum and blight. The city literally has employees who go out and check to make sure that illegal residences aren't taking place in our communities, and of course it pays for the administration of the programming.
Jessica, you talked about the eligibility for funding and the 501c3s that are eligible for funding, because we don't fund individuals and we fund nonprofits. Talk about some of the organizations that apply.
Well, to serve the homeless, we have the Salvation Army, the Coalition to House the Homeless. We have the Urban League of Union County. Other agencies such as the YWCA, they assist battered women. They take them in and house them to get them out of that situation. The YMCA also has housing for single women and their children. So there are a lot of things that are done in the community. I'm sure many of our residents have been affected by this funding.
Jessica, you talked about the City of Elizabeth, that we qualify for the funds, the total amount of funds that we qualify. Why do we qualify as an entitlement city? Because of population?
Yes, HUD, or the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, has a formula by which they determine how much funding we get. And we are an entitlement community because we have a certain amount of low-income families that live here, and that is something that is determined by Washington. It is just given to us through an entitlement that is determined by Congress, and we have to follow whatever the amounts, whatever.
But it's
amounts
also some of this money is given to us because we have a population of more than 50,000.
Yes,
that's another cutoff.
That's
right?
another. Yes, yes.
And if you're less than 50,000 people in your community, then you have to go through the county.
Correct.
For community development block grant funds. We go through the county for some other projects, though. Maybe more housing, but not community development block grant.
Yes, the Elizabeth Home Improvement sometimes will fund different housing projects, and they will do it in conjunction with the county. However, community development block grants and emergency solutions, we administer them directly. However, we have to be a part of their continuum of care system.
Jessica, talk about the process for someone, how the funding is dispersed, and how that all starts in either the end of December or the beginning of January with the applications.
Basically, we put out a notice of funding availability. We have a public hearing. We have an advisory committee that sits at the front in the council chambers, and people, or actually agencies who are eligible to apply, come and state their case before the advisory committee and say how important this funding is to them. And then they submit applications. The advisory committee sits and makes a decision based on how much funding we have, who gets funded and how much, and who doesn't get funded.
Yeah, that's another. Yeah. So, what's it about? $2 million? How much?
It's just under $2 million, which is very sad because we used to get over $4 million.
And the mayor's advisory committee that sits there is their title. It's chaired by a gentleman named Chris Bird, correct?
Yes.
And they go through all these applications by hand? I mean, they all go through them? Yes,
they read every single application, and I'll have you to know that they're all volunteers, and they're very concerned about this community and making sure that all of the needs of the city are met in every pocket of the city.
And Jessica, when they meet in City Hall and they go through the applications?
They take the applications home a couple weeks before, because it's a stack like this and it's just too many for any one person to read up in one night. But we do make a decision pretty much in one night as to who gets funded and how much. And Jessica, if we get a little less than $2 million, what's the total request? I mean, it must be, what, $3, $4, $5 million? Huh? Pretty close to that, yeah. Well over $3 million. That's how much is requested. Yes, yes. And so we have to. It's a tough job that they have. It really is. It's a very tough job, and some of our agencies, because funding has been cut all across the board, are really desperate for additional funding. So agencies who normally would not apply are applying. So it's a very tough decision that the advisory committee has to make. But even the people who got money last year would probably not look for the same amount this year because of the cuts. Correct, correct. It causes some difficulty. It really does. And in fact, at the end of the process, we were all just looking at the amount and the tremendous cut over the years. It's just been very, very devastating. Jessica, we're going to do a commercial. If you stay with us, we're going to talk more about CDBG and CDBG Week that we do here in the City of Elizabeth, highlighting the success of community development block grants. So please stay with us. After these messages, we'll be back with more with Jessica Topolosky, the supervisor of the Community Development Block Grant Program, and what we do in CDBG Week, highlighting the success of community development block grants.
When I grow up, I want to be a psychologist or a therapist.
I want to be a pediatrician.
I was hoping to become a chef someday.
I want to own a big house with a convertible and the jacuzzi and the pool, you know, all the good stuff.
Role models, they don't tell you what to do, but they help you to go where you're going.
I want to study law. I don't want to become a lawyer. I want to become a CIA agent.
Young people, I think, do need a mentor because, you know, we don't know everything, and, you know, all the people, they've experienced stuff that we haven't.
I would like to be a baseball player.
As long as there's somebody behind you, pushing you and supporting you, then you feel that you always have the strength to keep going.
Well, I would like to become like a doctor. That's my first choice.
Sometimes you feel down and you feel that no one really understands and no one knows like where you're coming from, and it's great to see someone who's been where you are now and, you know, making it.
So get involved and do your part. Invest in the future. Mentor a child.
I worry about my boyfriend. One minute he's supportive, the next minute everything is my fault. After he's had too many beers, he gets really angry and I become the target. My best friend, a social worker, told me to try Al-Anon family groups. It was a great relief to hear a new perspective for my problems. Are you troubled by someone's drinking? You might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon family group meeting from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-AL-ANON or visit alanonfamilygroups.org.
What if you could ignite your child's love of learning with one after-school program? What if that one program was easy and fun? Destination Imagination is the one. Destination Imagination has taught teamwork, creativity, and problem-solving for more than 25 years. A major university study showed our students are ahead of others in creativity and critical thinking. Learn more at startateam.org and make Destination Imagination the one for you.
I remember the moment clearly.
I'll never forget that moment.
As long as I live.
I realized at that moment, when we first saw the damage, these people really needed us. And I was going to make a difference, right here in my community. Together with local responders, we cleared trees and collapsed walls. We had to get to the family trapped beneath. As a citizen soldier, I made a difference.
Be there for your community at NationalGuard.com.
savings man here with a story for you about two young spenders named Tommy and Sue. Their parents let them buy whatever they chose, like video games and designer clothes. As they grew older, they spent all their pay on fancy cars, houses, 2 lattes a day. They lived in the moment, never saving a dime. When they tried to retire, they'd run out of time. Working forever is Tom and Sue's fate, so choose to save now before it's too late. Visit our website to find out more, cause a happy ending's worth saving for.
Welcome back to our city, where I'm joined by Miss Jessica Topolosky, who is the supervisor of the Bureau of Community Development that deals with community development block grant funding, which we celebrate during the month of April here in our city. And Jessica, besides in the Department of Community Development and Policy and Planning, is responsible for funding applications. I know you're the main point person. Does it go through anybody else? Do you have any other support staff there?
Yes, I have a bookkeeper, Maureen Panulo. I have 3 other people who go through the contract process: Steve Fernandez, Henry Kraus, and Victoria Rodriguez. And they actually go out to monitor the agencies to make sure the money is properly spent. The contract is being followed, and whoever is supposed to get the benefit is actually getting the benefit.
And Jessica, you said the City of Elizabeth, this is 39 years in a row we've received funding, and it's gone from more than $4 million to less than $2 million. Hopefully it's going to continue.
Well, if it doesn't, I think it will really severely hurt the city, because it really does help the people who need it most.
And Jessica, during the break we were talking about some of the major benefits. Maybe you could tell our viewers, what are the major benefits that the City of Elizabeth receives through CDBG funding?
Well, the major benefit of CDBG funding is really the development of affordable housing and economic development. And if you notice, over the years, the city has really experienced a renaissance. For example, through the restoration of the Union County Trust Building in Midtown, the parking garages also in Midtown, and the old First Historic Trust, which is the First Presbyterian Church. You see a lot of renovation going on, and it's right in the heart of town. You can't help but miss it. It really does uplift the city. In the Elizabeth Port area, you have the Elizabeth Presbyterian Center, which has been remodeled, and new construction around it as well. There is a new senior housing facility which was developed in conjunction with the Housing Authority of the City of Elizabeth. Brand New Day affordable housing projects in the Port area really help to revitalize the downtown as well. You see a lot of their projects just all along First Street. It looks really different. If you haven't been in that area for a long time, I suggest you take the drive. It's worth experiencing, and really, in my opinion, the city truly is experiencing a renaissance as a result of this funding.
And Jessica, another thing you put together is National Community Development Week that we celebrate with the rest of the nation, highlighting the success. And you mentioned some of the successes we've had recently. Tell our viewers what day the city will be holding this information center session.
Yes, we're going to have this on Thursday, on April 4th at the main public library, which, by the way, I neglected to mention that we used CDBG funding to restore that library to its original state. And if when you come, you will see how gorgeous it really looks. The library is located 11 South Broad Street, right in Midtown, next to the courthouse in Elizabeth. And the presentation is going to be, again, April 4th on Thursday at 11 o'clock on the 4th floor. Everybody, the whole community is invited to come.
And what we do is we do a presentation to the community, basically on how CDBG has functioned in your neighborhoods.
Correct. There will be a series of agencies that we will highlight this year, and we will show you a short video presentation of how truly these CDBG funds help. We will be showcasing the Salvation Army, Restore Ministries, which is located in Midtown, in one of the churches, and and I forget the third agency.
It'll come
but
there.
but it really does show, and also some affordable housing. It really does show what exactly and where the money goes.
And Jessica, what do we have a theme of this?
Yes, it's changing communities, changing lives.
And CDBG, that's what it's all about. I mean, it was created in the 1970s under the Nixon administration to do exactly that.
Correct, correct.
And we've had some interesting themes, and sometimes we get senators come, people from HUD and Newark come to this as well.
Yes, the director of HUD is going to be coming, Anne Marie Ubing, and hopefully Congressman Series. You know, he's on the Foreign Relations Committee, so when Congress is not in session, he's usually traveling, but
But during the sequester, they stopped all that traveling.
Oh, so yeah, maybe that would be great.
But Senator Menendez has been there in the past as well.
Yes, yes.
And so what else is going to take place during the session? Will there be actual people who have received the money there?
No, not at all. It'll just be a presentation of what CDBG is, where the money goes, and how it's administered, and just to notify the community. And also, the director of the Elizabeth Library, Dorothy Key, will welcome us, and she will give us a tour of the renovated library.
Dorothy has announced her retirement, by the way. It's just
I'm so sorry to hear that.
At the end of this year, so
wow,
she's given the library ample time to come up with a replacement. But she's done a great job with us.
I have to tell you, when we put in a little over $500,000 through CDBG funds, Dorothy did a yeoman's job in making sure that that facility was upgraded properly and according to code, and lots of kudos to Dorothy.
Yeah, she's going to be missed. Yeah, she's really a great person. Do any other partners or organizations participate in CDBG Week or CDBG?
Yes, all of the agencies are asked to set up displays. In fact, they started setting them up this morning on the first floor in City Hall, and basically they display their agency in pictures and flyers, so you know how to get in touch with them. You see what they're doing. It's really quite lovely, and we do not just leave that up 1 week. We leave it up 3 weeks because the public really enjoys seeing them. They take information. There may be agencies who do counseling. The Central Jersey law people put out their information, so if someone is having a problem with eviction that may not be legal, they can pick up that paperwork and call them, and they will assist them.
And Jessica, if people want to get involved or they want to apply for next year, who do they call? What do they do now?
They have to get in touch with me. Actually, the process starts in January. So anytime after the new year, you can call me at 908, obviously, 820-4030. It is important that you serve only Elizabeth residents. However, some of our agencies do not reside in Elizabeth. However, they serve Elizabeth residents, and they are funded for that.
And Jessica, this all also depends on what the federal government does in their budget, correct?
Correct, correct.
I mean, if they...
Let's hope they end the war.
Okay. Let's stop they stop fighting with each other.
Yes.
And the war overseas and put more money in programs like this.
Absolutely. That's where it's needed.
Jessica, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us on the show and appreciate all your hard work with Community Development Block Grant funding. We appreciate your efforts.
Thank you so much, Mayor.
For Miss Jessica Topolosky in Community Development Block Grant Programs, join us for CDBG Week in the first week in April. I'm Chris Bolwage. We'll see you next week on another edition of Our City.